Hey, happy Friday the 13th, guys. Feels like there hasn't been one in a while. I'm glad that it's here now. It's funny, when you're not a Friday the 13th person, it's like if I walk up to somebody, I'm ready to roll. I'm having a good day because it's Friday the 13th. I'm like, happy Friday the 13th. They look at me like I've got three eyes. Maybe I do, I don't know, but you get it. Happy Friday the 13th. Now, I've done retrospectives really re-talking about or kind of capsulating my thoughts on some of these movies over the years. I've laid notion that part one is now one of my favorite horror movies ever. I used to think it was a bad movie. How foolish was I? It's one of the best horror movies of the 80s. It's one of the most atmospheric, well-paced, spooky, classic horror films. Today we're talking about one that's the exact opposite of that. Jason Goes to Hell. Now, this is my Laserdisc of Jason Goes to Hell. It's funny, it says the unrated director's original cut. Here's the back of it. I like Jason Goes to Hell. I really do. I like this movie a lot. It's really interesting when you talk about this movie with people, though, because this is still one that the fans that love it are diehard, and the ones that hate it are diehard. I've always put my love for this movie pretty much based on my relationship that I had with it growing up and the way I experienced the Jason Goes to Hell. This was a movie that me and my brother would watch a lot growing up, and we would be in tears. This is also the Friday the 13th that I would see on the movie theater or the video store shelves pop out like a sore thumb, because obviously look at the bright colors on it. I mean, the VHS, I think you can see it back there, it's the same. It's flames, it's fire, and then you got this demon snake with fangs coming out of this chrome mask. Brilliant poster. It exactly knew how to get your attention. I really like Jason Goes to Hell, and I'll tell you why. And we're going to talk about some really deep kind of cut stuff with this for the hardcore fans. But look, really what it is I laughed my butt off watching this movie with my brother. We used to be in tears with the woman who's a secret agent. So, hey, we need you to go into a cabin at night in the woods at Crystal Lake and just start taking a shower. That's my assignment? Okay, that's my assignment. Is anybody going to be in the house with me? No, we're going to be outside of the house. So Jason could go inside, but we'll be outside. Oh, so that's what we're doing? Like that's exactly what we're doing? But then when he explodes and you hear this sound, if you're with a buddy, you're in tears. If they have a good sense of humor, that is. We're in tears laughing watching this, me and my brother. We used to love when Jason's head would plop down on the ground and roll. And look, I do think that the best way to enjoy Jason Goes to Hell is during a marathon. Because I don't care how much you love Friday the 13th. By part 8, you're ready for something remotely different. Something even remotely different. At least I am. That's not to say that I can't go throw on Jason Goes to Hell right now and have a good old time. But it's a movie that I've always enjoyed it. I love how silly Creighton Duke was. John D. LeMay, I always liked him. I have an affinity for him more now because I watched him in the television show, Friday the 13th, that was on from Paramount CBS. I've got the DVD set for that. I just liked him. This movie has that 90s feel, but it's like earlier 90s, so it still feels very retro. Like for me, late 90s movies, they don't feel like retro yet. They feel vintagey, but like I remember that in my life. So I guess it's because I really was like a baby when this movie came out. Too bad I wasn't the baby in the movie. But I don't know, man. This movie is so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. I just think it's like a big budgeted B movie. You know, which you could argue back in the day that these were B movies, but not anymore. I mean, these are Americana horror classics. I don't know if you would necessarily consider the Friday the 13th movies B movies, but to me, like, Jason Goes to Hell is a very expensive B movie. But, you know, you've got some elements that I still think really work, like Manfredini's score. I wonder if Manfredini was doing cocaine during this era. Because if he was, it's very reflective in the score. some dude whacking a guardrail with a stick, and then a bump, 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 bump. The score is insane. I mean, I would hate to see the written music sheets out for that. They probably look ridiculous. But I mean, Manfredini went for it with Jason Goes to Hell. What kind of score do we need for this movie? Kind of stick with the original? Adam's like, no, I want you to literally fit 7 songs in a minute and a half. And, like, played fast. Okay, got it. No problem. So, I don't know. I just think this movie is really enjoyable with friends. And I'm not going to say that everybody's going to be a fan of this movie or love it. Or really say it's a good movie. There's my Bennett Brower from Saturday Night Live. It's not a good movie. But it's so entertaining to me. I love watching this movie with friends. Commentaries for this movies that I've done in the past on YouTube are a blast. We're always laughing our butts off. We all love John D. LeMay. Creighton Duke is hilarious. It's too bad that they couldn't have gotten Bruce Campbell to be the guy that's basically trying to look like him. He's the news reporter that goes to the Voorhees house, and he's like, we're going to find the body, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that guy looked like Bruce Campbell. It's a shame they couldn't have just gotten Bruce Campbell to do that, but I think if the timeline is correct, Bruce was doing Army of Darkness at the time. Speaking of Army of Darkness, Jason is a Deadite. The Army of the Evil Dead book is in the house. What the hell is going on? I mean, that is insanely cool. Even when you watch the Blu-ray on Collector's Friday the 13th set, you find out that they sent Adam Marcus the Book of the Dead from the set of Army of Darkness. That is remarkable. But there's a really glooming thing about this movie that I want to really pose a question to you guys, because I have my thoughts, but so Adam Marcus has said over the years, and still to this day, and it sounds like he's mostly talking to the people who are being critical of the film. Oh, Jason's not in it, blah, 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 it's whatever. He's always said, Sean Cunningham told me, get the hockey mask out of the movie. But Sean denies that. He says he didn't say that. And I know a lot of people believe Adam, and I don't disbelieve Adam at all. It's just, I have a hard time just deciding Adam's telling, not that Adam's lying, I don't think Adam's lying at all, but just saying, okay, that's 100% true, Sean did say that. It's just, you know, Sean's never really talked about Jason Goes to Hell. Maybe he's just really not a fan of the movie, and he very well could have forgotten that. But this is the same guy who's gone on record openly admitting, yes, I ripped off Halloween, 100%. I completely ripped it off. And then you see him on interviews, he's always a very honest, he appears to be a very honest, humble guy. I mean, I'm a big Sean Cunningham fan. Regardless of this doesn't matter. This wouldn't change my respect for a producing legend, a horror legend like Sean Cunningham. But it's always interesting. Like, I wonder if we'll ever know the truth about this. How did this movie really come to be? We have Adam's side of the story, but we don't have Sean's side of the story. I just want to know, I would love to know 100% how this all came to fruition and why it came to fruition. There's also stories that, you know, Sean really had to edit this movie down to get it to make somewhat sense. I heard that the movie was really nutty because even though this says an unrated director's cut, there's so much more footage that was probably put in the very initial cut that started getting cut and cut and cut. And the word is that Sean did a lot of that cutting. So, I don't know. I still think there's a lot of air of mystery around Jason Goes to Hell's production that I'd like to know about.